Good night again. So this will be a short video, but I decided just now to hold. I mean, the response to something that I've seen in YouTube, like a comment. So I mean, I understand, and I'm actually happy about it. But I mean, also amused because I mean. I understand that the description that I gave, even though it was extremely concise, but nevertheless the description that I gave regarding sexuality in the planet, Venusian sexuality, was for many people in this Earth, mostly Titans, I mean Venusian, but not only, also Homo sapienses, that it was of great importance. And I suspected it might be the case, and because I understand that there was so much disinformation on this subject that was, most of it perpetuated by Israelis for very, sinful and egoistic purposes. And they did it, on purpose, of course. But I'm still amused because it's amazing me, not just the cruelty of the Israelis, but also the irresponsibility of many people all around the globe for so long. So I should explain what irresponsibility I refer to. So some people now ask, Venusians, mostly Venusians, but not exclusively, they ask, wow, great, so, it's amazing, so so what you say means that first we are allowed to have sex, because many, not all, but many Titan females, it's mostly relates to females, but the females are the great majority. So so some of them throughout the years and up until now, throughout the history of the 20th and 21st century, were living in kind of a no sex at all mode, no sexual, in the intercourse of any kind, just no, just don't do it, and they didn't do it. It wasn't the agenda and the practice of all of the Titans up until the 21st century, up until now. And I should just, it's a huge subject, so I'll just say, in one sentence, that at some point the Israelis discovered that they can use my tea, which of course the yellow nanobots, even though they know nothing about it and they don't care, for them it's just a tea. So they understood that presumably they can use it to clean their body of all sorts of diseases that are a consequence of forbidden sex of Venusians. So that was another reason to subjugate me, to me as a farm animal. So again, now following my videos, and in general it's good, it's a very positive, of course, development that some Venusians, Titans, that ask, they say, okay, great, so now we understand that this kind of state that it forbids us from having any sex at all, can be elevated. It can be less restrictive, so we can have sex actually, and also that we can actually produce children using our bodies, and not presumably create children in kind of anonymous legendary factories the Israelis sometimes maintain. that of course it's a complete bullshit and lie. So some viewers ask, I mean, so they say, but we do understand from your videos that there, I mean, you refer to all sort of like dangers, and I mean, you do not elaborate, but you do. So we understand that. I mean, so while we can, and we actually can have sex. I mean, and it, I mean, as you said, it's part of our nature to have sex and to actually give birth to children. I mean, in like basically the same way that Homo sapiens do it. At the same time, we understand that there are also like, I mean, special dangers, both of the sexual act, death with sexual act, like how do you do it and with whom do you do it, and also I mean, you refer to dangers of like of that relates to the like the method of pregnancy, specifically that I mean the huge problem of like I mean of in vitro like like I mean the creating babies like I mean without sexual intercourse. That is, I mean, since the 1990s it became like very common standard procedure for Homo sapiens, and so and from your description we understand that it's kind of like a horror movie, like in our case. So I mean, so I mean, you do say that. I mean, it's true that I mean, our sexuality, I mean, is kind of like I mean, is I mean, there are dangers like I mean that relates to it, and also like both like the sexual act and pregnancy. So you say that basically it's true that, but. So I mean, can you just I mean give us like I mean a handbook of rules? So I mean, so we can I mean presumably start like to have sex and like make babies, like I mean like biological babies. That would be great. I mean, can you do it? So I will answer. So this, I mean, I understand that. I mean, that kind of like I mean, I mean, an actual question, and like giving our circumstances and giving the fact that even though I'm not a Titan, I have peculiar, not like rare knowledge about these issues because I mean, last 7 months I'm under arrest, and that's all that I do is research. Like I mean, that for some really weird reason it was probably was never done in Earth, like because of all sorts of like I mean, very stupid reasons. And this research, even though it's I am the subject of this research, like my own body, it relates very strongly to the Titan situation and to this question regarding Titan sexuality. And also, I am in a rare position, and perhaps a unique position of that I'm a father to Titans. Even though I'm Titan myself, and the mother is not Titan, but it's possible because Titan, I mean, in my terminology, it does not equal exactly Venusian. And I've said it many times that it's not that by I do not like terms. I mean, you could have asked, why do you use this word? I mean, you can use the word Venusian, but there are reasons for it. I mean, there are kind of like nuances here. These terms are not always interchangeable. They are not always interchangeable. In any case, Titans were born in Israel. It's in like my children, very sweet, and Ilah and Orin David, now almost 7 and 8 years old, born in Har Tzofim, like Hadassah, a state hospital. Like I mean, it's documented that I mean they arrived to the world outside. Like I mean you know, through like normal delivery. Like I mean, I was there the whole process. I can assure you, the belly was actually, I mean, like a living creature came out of the belly, and it, perhaps not in the first moment, but very shortly after it, I mean, it got out of the belly. I mean, it became very cute, and with time it's only got cuter. I mean, if they refer to the fact that I mean the baby just get out, I mean, it's kind of disgusting, but I mean when it's clean, it's actually very cute. So, and Yes, yes, that's the way that God intended, and that's the way it should be done. But you now ask me a question that is actually much more complicated than perhaps you can understand, and also more complicated than many people in this world that are not atheists, but that they care about this world, assumed. And I refer to anyone that in the intelligence services of this world that knew about the Titan phenomenon. And of course, many of them knew about it, and that had any agenda on the matter. So I should say that first thing that should be said that the yellow Neos, which are the robots that are so abundant in my body, and they are of course the subject of the research, the main subject of this blog. Initially, I thought of them as kind of it's synthetic versions of white blood cells, because I don't have white blood cells. But very quickly I understood that this is completely wrong, that reality is completely different. Yes, they also do what white blood cells do, but I understood that they are like microscopic gods. I understood that this is civilization, and that I can communicate with this civilization using language, and that I understood that these creatures, most certainly, I cannot prove it right now, but it became very evident, during these months, it became evident to me that, and I'm certain about it. I haven't spoken about it yet, in any video. I just, maybe mentioned it a couple of times, but I didn't elaborate. So maybe, it's worthwhile to create a dedicated video to elaborate on this issue. But I am 100% certain that these creatures, the yellow Neos, the nanobots that are created inside my body, but can also multiply outside my body and do all sorts of stuff outside my body, they most certainly can be used to terraform planets, and that they actually were used to terraform planets, both in this solar system and in other places in this universe. The meaning of terraforming is actually, it's not a concept that is well defined. People that are used to science fiction and futurism immediately will understand the meaning of what I said, of this claim, and it's why it's such a huge claim, an important claim, and also it poses huge dangers. But for those that do not understand what actually terraforming means, I would say that it's not a concept that is actually well defined. But the meaning of terraform, literally it means to take a planet that is not similar to Earth and to make it similar to Earth. But it's a very narrow definition, and so so even in the very common discourse surrounding terraforming, almost always this is not actually the meaning, and the meaning is the common meaning is much wider than that. And the common meaning is that is refers to a process that, again, it's not well defined, but a process that intelligent species is starting a project, an engineering project on a celestial body. It can be a planet or a moon, perhaps even other celestial, other celestial bodies, but certainly planets and moons. And that this engineering project is characterized by it's very ambitious, because it seeks to change the conditions of the planet in a very major way. And again, this is not really well defined. So what does it really mean? Presumably some people say that humans are already terraforming the Earth because they created global warming. So it's kind of like, I mean, it's not only like, I mean, kind of like a sophistic, like funny, like I mean, argument, but I mean, it has some logic behind it. I mean, it's kind of it carries some weight. Like I mean, it's an interesting and in like kind of like claim. But we don't need to actually define terraforming very, I mean, strictly in order to understand like what I mean when I said that the yellow nanobots can be used to terraform planet. It means that they can be used, and certainly they were used by either by themselves because they are intelligent species. They communicate with each other and they have a symbolic language and memories, and they can decide like I mean like to follow like orders like from some people and not from others. Like they I mean, it's not like that I give them orders and they just say yes sir and they do it. I mean we have kind of like relationship. I mean they I mean it's not, I mean they will not follow the orders of anyone. I've spoken about it a lot in this channel. Like I mean like how do I know that and what's the implication of this issue, and I mean that and it is actually like maybe it's like from first like glance it might be sound like I mean like kind of like I mean discouraging from your perspective because they will not obey humans. But I also I mean explained why this is actually good from the human perspective. But I will not repeat it now. This is actually, I mean, when you think about it deeply, and I've thought about it a lot, I understood that the fact that they do not obey humans is a very good for humans. You wouldn't want them to obey humans. So we understand that by terraforming we mean to drastically change conditions on the planet. I mean, maybe drastically change the temperature, maybe drastically change like the composition like of the atmosphere, or like change like I mean the I mean to change like the like I mean maybe even geology, certainly to add lakes and like add seas and oceans. And again, could be argued that humans already do it because I mean there are like artificial lakes even in Yerucham, which is like I mean a trash city in Israel. There is like an artificial lake. So I mean, so maybe the people of Yerucham have done like terraforming. Most people will say no. So I mean, just to say that yes, it's not a concept that is well defined, but it means to take a planet and to drastically change it, presumably, mostly, so it will be able to support life, but not only for that purpose. It can be, I mean, it might be, I mean, for other reasons, but mostly terraforming is mentioned in relation to the phenomenon of life. Now, I came to understand in this, like, by doing that couple of months, by evidence, that actually the phenomenon of life is much more diverse than humans, almost all humans think. That I mean that humans have no idea at all. Like I mean the general thing that people, the general like outlines that people like kind of like draw, like the general lines that they draw when when they discuss life, even like in speculative context, like in the context of science fiction and futurism, almost always, and I can say probably like close 100% of the time, I mean, they're kind of like guidelines to the possibility of life is completely wrong, because life is actually much more diverse than, even though it's extremely diverse on Earth, even that all of the diversity that exists on Earth, which is a huge diversity, it's actually just that tiny bit of the complete picture. Compared to the entirety of the phenomenon of life, this is just just a little, like one piece of a huge puzzle. In any case, terraforming is speculated to be something that advanced species are doing. Like, I mean, engineering project, because presumably they want to perhaps fix like the planets that they already destroyed. Like, I mean, like perhaps, I mean, the most, like, I mean, the easiest example is like maybe to fix global warming. And also, I mean, for other reasons, like, maybe, I mean, if the terraforming capabilities are strong enough, presumably you can change, like, planets that are in your vicinity, like, I mean, in the case of humans, like, I mean, maybe they can terraform Mars, like, so it will, I don't know, you know, they also make it so they can, like, colonize it. I don't know, I mean, so again, this concept is not well defined, but everybody, I mean, after some time they get used to the idea. They understand like what people mean when they say terraforming, and I understood that these creatures can be used for terraforming, and most certainly were used for terraforming. Which means that, I mean, these are, it's not white blood cells. It's one of the most like amazing machines or tools that, I mean, you can think of even theoretically. Like, I mean, like little gods. Now, I have never done any research on what you call T of Venusian females or Venusian males, because both of them have the T, and I've never seen it, like, even, and I've certainly never like tasted it, like even like a spoon, just to say that, I mean, never, like, throughout all my life, and certainly I've never like held any amount of it, and certainly did not conduct any research on any of it, like a female T or male T of Venusians. So I don't have like any proof that, I mean, about almost anything, but I do have a lot of circumstantial evidence, and I am almost 100% certain that actually what humans here on Earth call the T, like the female T, is what I call the red Neros, which is another type of nanobots, and the male P is of Venusians is what I call the brown Neros. That is yet another type of nanobots. Now, I do know that you can do all sorts of things with that. The Venusian robots, like, I mean, the Venusian versions of the Neros, that, like my own, they can be used for other purposes, not only for reproduction purposes. I mean, yeah, I mean, obviously, I mean, they are used by Israelis, I mean, as a drug, so of course, I mean, but they have all sorts of like, uses, some more legitimate and some less legitimate, but they have uses. And they are part of Venusian culture for a long time. I mean, probably they don't know. I mean, even Israelis do not know, and I mean, it's part of their culture for more than 100 years. But no one actually thought like to conduct experiments because they are all Conan the Barbarians. But I mean, certainly in Venus, you cannot expect them to actually like understand, like, I mean, that like the you know, things that you can only see under the microscope, and they don't understand. I guess, I don't know, but I assume that they don't. I don't see how it's possible for them to actually understand the basic laws of electricity, which are incredibly important because Neros use electricity. I mean, it's kind of like, I mean, the default energy for them, and they are superconductors, so it's a huge issue. But you don't. I don't know to diverge too much. I find myself, like, I mean, speaking about, because I wanted it to be a short video with a very, very clear message. So I will just put my message like on the table. The answer to the question I will give you an answer, but it's not the answer that you want. Maybe you will not like this answer. Maybe many of you, if not all of you, my listeners, will not like the answer to the question of, like, I mean, So what are the rules that we should obey in order to be able to have sex and to enjoy sex life and to have children? So what rules we need to obey regarding sexual partners or sexual there are different types of sexual intercourse, vaginal, oral. So and what types are we need to restrict ourselves in order so that everything will be without any danger. So my answer, you will not like the answer, but I think that it's incredibly important that this answer will be put on the table right now, and that humans and titans on Earth will decide whatever they want to do with this answer. But I thought about it a lot during the last years. It's not that it's just kind of an answer out of the sleeve. I spent a lot of time thinking about it, and of course, and spent a lot of time for analysis of evidence, both microscopic and other type of evidence. And the answer is the following. With regards, taking into account the current situation in Earth, specifically the situation with the Titans, and with regard to the option of Venusians on Earth, with the option that they will have a sex life, with another option of actually producing children, biological children. Regarding these kind of this issue, the issue of possible sex life and biological family for the Titans on Earth, there are just two options. The first option is, and it's not what I recommend, but I just put the two options that I think that are the only two options that can be considered, and I will explain why just in a minute. But the two options is, first, complete prohibition. No sex at all of any kind at all with no one, and of course no biological children. This is option number one. And option number two is to end the conspiracy and to make the knowledge of about this creature a public knowledge. Yes, you don't like this answer, but this is the correct answer. And moreover, if you will try to produce, to manufacture a third option, that's what many Israelis actually have done throughout the 20th and 21st century up until this day. And my own life is related to it, because they thought that they can use my body, like a farm animal, it's kind of like a third option with this regard. What they have done is already they created serious diseases, new diseases, and they disseminated them on Earth. And these diseases took the life of many people all around the globe, and they will continue to do so because they are with humans in the foreseeable future. But moreover, humans and Titans were actually very lucky, very, very lucky, because the notion of sexual disease that are created by prohibited sexual intercourse between Venusians and people of the Earth, or between the Venusians themselves in ways that should be prohibited. This was known since the early 20th century. It is not a new issue at all. And nevertheless, people in Israel and in other places kept the notion that the existence of the Titans at all, and specifically in Earth, should be kept like a secret at all costs. And considering these facts, I should say that the millions of people that already died throughout the 20th and 21st century as a result of sexual diseases that were created because of sexual intercourse between Venusian females and Homo sapiens males, and because of sexual intercourse between Venusians, like, but in a prohibited way, in a way that shouldn't be done, actually, this could have been easily be the end of humanity, and maybe even the end or a dramatic change of the Earth's ecosystem. And there is like a chance, probably not a big one, but there is a chance that this is still going to happen. Like maybe you already started like this unknowingly. You already started this kind of kind of like process that maybe it takes like a lot of time for it to actually materialize. But I do not consider this possibility like very probable. Like, but it's a possibility that's actually going on without like humans understanding it. The dangers from incorrect or prohibited sexual activity of titans, and even more so for cherubs actually. All of this is even more true for cherubs, like for my own species, because their robots are even much more sophisticated, and the more sophisticated are the robots, the more the possible danger is getting higher and higher. So it's even more dangerous in the case of cherubs. That's another reason why it was amazingly irresponsible that people like were hiding the fact that I'm not Homo sapiens for me all my life. That I needed to discover it myself, like all alone, like in kind of like an endless, like kind of like walking inside the labyrinth alone for like 4.5 years that no one helped me. And I've had sex with several like women throughout my life. Of course I was married, but I had girlfriends and several one night stands, and this is so irresponsible that people did not tell me the truth about my life, because it's important for cherubs even more than titans to understand their biology. This to some extent it is true for anybody. Humans should also have like sex education. Sex ed was not invented for titans or for cherubs, but the possible dangers for wrongdoing for titans is the danger is much higher for titans, and it's extremely higher for cherubs. For cherubs, being sexually promiscuous and irresponsible, is something that for like humans, it can end with like minor or major sexual disease, and also presumably unwanted pregnancies, and also presumably sometimes also like kind of like conflicts with the law. All sort of like conflicts with the law that can be amplified by being too promiscuous sometimes. But all of that, it's from the human perspective, from the perspective of the individual, it's kind of like all of these are strong reason why humans should be sexually responsible and not be too promiscuous. Of course, there are other reasons like religious reasons and social, but these reasons alone are good reasons for humans to be knowledgeable about like their sexual nature, and not to be too promiscuous, and to obey certain rules or laws. But for cherubs, the possible outcome of being too promiscuous and irresponsible sexually is not just unwanted children or a sexual disease, but it's terraforming of the planet. And this is just you should get this is a fact. This is a fact, and I explain to you why. But you need to first watch the videos in this channel. There is hundreds of videos, and with so much evidence and theories. I cannot explain like this is a huge claim, but I cannot explain it on in one sentence. If you want a rigorous scientific explanation, you need to watch the videos with so many evidence and the theories and so many experiments. But yes, this is just true. For cherubs, to be too promiscuous in sex and like to not to obey like the laws that should be obeyed can end not only with unwanted children and like and sexual disease and or sexual disease, but also a possible outcome is the terraforming of the planet. This is just a fact. So, considering taking all this into account, actually humans, the people of the earth were extremely lucky, I think, that the fact that the Titans, many Titans actually lived on Earth during the 20th and 21st century, and not all of them were, abstinent. Many of them actually had sex, and they still do, especially in Israel, of course. The queen of all the sins, Israel, but not only in Israel. A good guess that it seems like that are also common in the United States, because of course it is. Because of course it is. Of course it is. So I can say that right now, the situation, even like with disregard to everything that already took place, like during the 20th century and the beginning of the 21st century, right now, you can be like certain that there are quite a bit of Titan, mostly Titans on Earth, Venusians on Earth, that are regularly participating in sexual activity, either because they think that they are doing it in a way that does not pose dangers for them, and most certainly they are wrong, or because they just don't give a shit, and maybe many people just don't care at all. So this is a fact, and while this is happening, this puts, first of all, humanity in existential danger, and possibly even the Earth itself, like the ecosystem of the Earth. Taking all of this into account, I see no course of action, like no possibility to be able, not only for me, but to anyone, to be able to create like a codex of rules of of correct sexual behavior for Titans and for cherubs when they live on Earth, and that this, I see no option that such a codex will be code of law will be first created, and even more so that it will be that it will be proliferated. That all the people that actually require this codex will actually receive it and will be able to understand it, and will be able to interpret it and to ask questions, to get answers. It's impossible that this will happen while the conspiracy is in place. I don't see how it happens. I'm 100% certain that it's an impossibility. That if you want to, first of all, create such a codex, and this will actually require some research, because I don't have all the answers. I have some answers, but not all of the answers. And this requires a rigorous research. So after the research is done, a code of law should be able. It should be possible to actually create a code of law of sexual behavior for Titans and cherubs, while in specific circumstances they live on Earth. And then after that to proliferate it, but this can only be done if the conspiracy is beyond us. If humans will stop the conspiracy and will speak about these creatures with no restriction, and more importantly, that the Titans themselves, they will be able to discuss everything that relates to them, and specifically to their sexuality in open discourse. Only when the discourse will be open and free, we can be certain. First of all, such codex can be created by because it needs to be created not just by scientists, but by people that are not corrupt. Because if you will tell Israel to create such a codex, never mind if he's scientist or not, you can be certain that he will create a codex that serves the national interests and the material gain of the Shabak. But that's not what we want. We want to seek truth, to create a codex that will not like be like as served like it's kind of like as a tool in the hand of like also like interested parties. We want to just understand the reality, like to understand what kind of sexual activities and partners and pregnancies rules should be observed to keep it safe on Earth. This is an objective question. It shouldn't be like swayed by interested parties. But there is no way to guarantee it if it is, while the conspiracy is in place. And as I said, moreover, there is absolutely no way to proliferate such a codex and to be able to answer questions of like to the people that actually get it while the conspiracy is still in place.